Hi, Chris here. Okay, we're at the part where we're going to cut around the arms. Now, in your fabric, there's always a line to follow. The weave of the fabric is 99% of all fabrics have a weave. And if you can see on this fabric, I'm flipping it over, and on the back side of the fabric they have stripes. Okay, that's a good line to follow when you're cutting around the arms, because you're flipping them back, because you got to make a cut in the arm, and you want them to be straight, and that'll help you. This is just luck that this fabric has that. As you can see, when I flip the fabric back to make my cuts, this line is in the same spot on both sides of the chair, going into the arm, which is telling me that my line on the fabric is straight. Okay. Now, you don't want to make these cuts in the arm until you're at this position. Now remember, fabric is always going to give. That's why you want to make sure you have it lined up where you want it. And this is a pretty tough cut, because you got to make sure that none of your cut shows around this arm when you're only dealing with a 3/4 inch thick arm. So making your cuts is very important right now. I'm going to cut this side first so you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut directly into the middle of the arm. But I'm not going to cut all the way into the arm, because you don't want... See, I'm sticking my arm down here in the fabric, and there's a lot of filling in this fabric. It's almost going up to my middle knuckle. So you don't want to cut right into here, because once you roll the fabric over, your cut end is going to be right there also. You want to cut back. You want to stay back from that corner, and it is so important that you do that, so when your fabric rolls around, it tucks down to where it's supposed to be and you can't see any of your cut. So I'm going to cut straight into that arm. Sharp scissors are very important. And I'm going to stop right there. I don't want to go any further, and I don't want to cut this side now, because this side is the side I'm working on, and when I get it tacked into place, you know, pulling a little bit on this side of the fabric could pull out my cut on this side. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make what we call as a V cut. And what I'm doing, if you can see my scissors, I got them angled towards the bottom of the arm. And I'm just going to make a little nip there, and a little nip there to go around. And it's still back. You can still see that it's back from the fabric. Now I'm ready to try to apply my fabric, and if I'm lucky, I made the first cut in the right exact spot for it to sit nice on the chair. Most of the time that doesn't happen. Now, and if you're looking at this line here, that's just dust from the fabric. This is a velvet. And by the way, at DIY we have a 10,000 square foot warehouse of fabric. Commercial grade, residential grade, hospitality, anything you can think of we have in stock, except this fabric. Okay, this is a one-time deal. We have no more of this fabric. So if you're looking at it saying, I need to have that fabric, well, I'm sorry. We don't have any more. Okay, now, as you can see, I tucked my fabric in around the arm, and it seems to be sitting kind of nice. There's no pulls or wrinkles. You want to come to the side. Now here's the reason why you got to be careful on your cut. When you cut that, if you can zoom in down here, see there's fabric up here, and it seems to be a little level down here. But the problem there is it just shifted a bit. So I'm going to make a pleat with my fabric, and I'm going to pull it to the back. Right about there. And you can see it's coming flush with the wood. Hack it off right away. Go back to the front and see what kind of mess you made. And this is very good. The cut around there, if you could zoom in, is really, really good. It turned out nice. It's exactly where I want it to be, so I really don't have to mess with that anymore. I'm going to move to the top, make my pleat, and do the same thing. Flip it over, Hold on, I'll move to this side. Make my pleat. Tuck my fabric under. And staple it off. And there you have it. Now you can do a little test. You're going to be pulling your fabric up. And you grab that fabric up there and pull it up, pull it down, and it looks great. There's nothing showing. Everything looks real good. So now you can move to the other side and do the same thing that we just did. Make your cut directly into the arm. Make a little V cut. Flip your fabric around. Now see, this one's going to be a little too big because now you're going to be making a little taunt from side to side. So my cut here is a little too big, so I'm going to have to trim it in a bit more. It up. Make my pleat. Tack it down. Same thing on the top. Look at your lines. And voila, the scariest part, voila in French is, there you go. The scariest part of this chair is done, cutting around the arms. And when you get to that part, it is kind of scary. You got to kind of pay attention to what you're doing. We're going to finish off the sides. This cut here, basically all you're doing right here, if you can zoom in here, is trimming around the leg. It's the same technique we used on the seat. You just want to make sure you trim around there, tuck your fabric in, give yourself a nice pleat. Now here's where you bring some of this fabric down. You pull down, pull to the back. And you give yourself a nice 45-degree pleat. On your leg. Tuck in any excess fabric that you might have. And do the same thing at the top. Bring your fabric up and put a temporary tack. Alright, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to finish this inside back off, and see you then.